So when I take a look at the energy of, what causes suffering, a big part of that is unconscious energy, unconsciousness. And generally to a clairvoyant, it will typically show up as the color of white, kind of a cloudy white energy. And one might initially kind of go, huh, that's what's causing, all this suffering here. Seems kind of odd or strange at first. And there's more to it. This is just kind of one aspect of what might cause suffering. But then you kind of pose the question of, well, okay, well, unconsciousness. Well, unconscious to what? So essentially, unconscious to what you're seeking is not out there, it's within. And sure, we may have heard that before, whether we've read it in a book or seen a video about this, or it's one thing to have it kind of on a intellectual level. It's to actually realize that is a whole other thing. And yeah, so your answers, kind of what you're seeking, is within yourself. All the things that you're wanting or needing, your answers, your truth, your wisdom, it's everything. The purpose for this life, it's all within you. It's not outside of you, out in the world, in a book or another person. People can be helpful, and yeah, books can be helpful, but it's not going to have your answers or your truth, essentially. And so it becomes this thing of turning your attention away from the world and turning within. And that's how you start to kind of, okay, well, what's the next step? Okay, now I know that unconsciousness caused suffering, and I'd like to, well, what do I do with this unconsciousness? I would like to maybe shed that unconsciousness and become more conscious. And so that's when you start turning within, and we call that meditation. You're turning your awareness within, and yeah, you start to turn your awareness within, and you'll start to run into the unconscious energy. I work with new students and teach them basic meditation techniques. When I was going through my clairvoyant training, we'd be in reading sessions, and we'd kind of start off by just sitting kind of a side chair, where someone that's been doing it a little longer is kind of the main chair. They're conducting the reading, and really as someone just off to the side that, as a reader, you're really just there trying to stay grounded, and you're learning to run your energy through your energy system, and just stay conscious. So, and you work through that unconsciousness so that, oh, now I can sit through a reading session and be conscious. And even just on your own, in your own personal meditation, yeah, you're going to hit unconscious energy, you're going to space out, all sorts of stuff. And it's sometimes that could be frustrating or discouraging, and I don't really see it as a failure. That's kind of what you're actually wanting to get to. That's, to me, actually a success, is that you turn within, and okay, the goal is to become more conscious. I want to become aware of the truth. And so you're going to run into the opposite. You're going to run into the unconscious energy, and you want that so that you can let it stimulate, let it come up, and just, whoa, okay, I'm feeling kind of sleepy here. and you work through it, you clear the energy, and then you become aware of something. And so the other aspect that probably people are aware of what might cause suffering are these illusions we hold in our mind. And you start to wake up to those and kind of go, oh, whoa, okay, I didn't know this was there. And you look at that and, oh, that doesn't seem quite right, and you decide to let that go. And this happens. You kind of work through the unconsciousness. You start to become aware of these images in your mind, these illusions, perhaps some of these division pictures, and you sort through the junk mail. And each time you wake up to an image and dissolve it, let it go, you're one step closer to the truth. Until you get there, and then you wake up fully and realize, oh, wow, okay, yeah. I maybe kind of had a sense on an intellectual level that, yeah, okay, it's, my peace is within myself. That's a nice concept. But to actually realize that or experience, that's a whole other thing. And so you go down this journey meditating, shedding the unconsciousness and becoming aware of these lies and illusions in your mind and letting those go and just getting closer and closer to your truth. And you start to become aware of, oh, yeah, wow, okay. Now you fully realize that, yeah, okay, my answers, it is all within myself, but there's no need to, chase something outside of myself. I'm desperate for this answer or whatever it might be. It doesn't matter. But actually, it can kind of be like using a computer or a cell phone. You're online. You're at google.com. You type in a question, and you're seeking some sort of answer. And it can be like that on a spiritual level, where you're getting in touch or in communication with your higher self. And you have a question in mind, and you can get, with spirit, it's very non-effort. You can get an answer back really fast. And it can come in different ways. For someone like myself that operates primarily as a clairvoyant, I'll see the answer show up in the form of a mental image picture. And there's, they say a picture's worth like 1,000 words. We've heard that phrase. And there's definitely some truth to that. When I look at an image, I can get a lot of information out of that. And I become aware of my answer to the question I had, asking my higher self a particular question. But at the same time, I could also not only be, the focus is, seeing the image, but I'm also hearing the energy and getting answers that way. And I'm also just kind of knowing the answer. So using multiple abilities simultaneously while looking at one simple mental image picture, and bam, I got my answer to whatever question I had that popped up for myself. And that's a fun space to be in, and this is something that we can all do. It's not for like the select few. Sometimes we get caught up in this, oh, I'm not psychic. It's that person, they were just born with it, or a lot of common thing that happens with people have near-death experiences, and then something really shifts in them, and they wake up, maybe certain abilities turn on, and oh, it's just for them. And that's just not the case. Everyone's psychic. Everyone is intuitive. It's just becoming aware of that. And again, psychic. It's just of or pertaining to the soul. So it's pertaining to you and your innate abilities that you already have within you that you can tap into. And so really, learning to meditate, becoming aware of, say, your energy system, right? Those channels, those 7 major chakras within the body, and what these chakras are all about. I was kind of referring to some of the abilities pertaining to some of the upper chakras in the body, so like the 5th, 6th, and 7th chakras. And you meditate, and you continue down that spiritual path. And when you're on your spiritual path, you'll experience healing. And that's the thing. Sometimes we think that when we're on our spiritual path, everything just gets, better immediately. And yes, when you decide to kind of choose spirit, in general, things tend to be better for you, right? But it is quite challenging, right? The things that you've you've been unconscious to and have buried and suppressed, that all starts to come up, and you start to work through that. All the stuff that's been really making you unaware and been really covering up the qualities of you as spirit that's always there, and that never changes. That the inner joy, as opposed to the fleeting joy that, if you're following your programming, or kind of following the way of the analytical part of the mind, if you're following that route, following ego and all that, you'll experience maybe fleeting joy, where it's just, there's little blips and then it just fades, and then, oh, where'd it go? And so when you choose spirit, you're on the spiritual path. That's you're gonna have to work through some of the stuff you've been holding down and suppressing, and you get closer. You get closer and closer to the inner peace that's always there, the inner joy that's always there, the clarity, all of it. And it's a challenging process, but it is very rewarding to really to learn about who you are and where you came from. When I got into this, I didn't really know what I was getting into. There's just some part of me that knew that, oh, okay, I am in the right place right time. I got to do this. I got to, I received an R reading and I knew, but I didn't know exactly why. And the whole thing, it was just, I need to sign up for these classes. I need to take this meditation class. I need to get in this year-long clairvoyant training. I know it's right for me. I got to do it now. And you start to get your answers kind of as you kind of move down that route. And, for me, it was, you take the classes, I'm in the training, and you go, oh, okay, yeah. Now I know why. Because it's an amazing thing. It's a beautiful thing to wake up. And that's something that I have a great affinity for. Still waking up at deeper and deeper levels. It's a lot of fun. And then watching other people or students I've had where seeing them kind of wake up. And that's really what we're all doing here, is just waking up. And, that kind of goes back to the beginning of this video, this topic of, that, yeah, part of suffering is the cause is this unconscious energy. But at some point, it's not about outward kind of worldly success, being the best at this or being the best at that, and physical possession, and like that's going to be the source of my happiness and joy. And one thing I heard before is, in regards to certainty, you can put certainty you can have certainty in anything, right? And would you rather put it in things that are not real and things that have an ending, or something that is infinite, such as yourself? And when I heard that, I was like, whoa, something really clicked when I heard that. And yeah, it does. It's not so much about that anymore, the outward worldly success. It's you get to a point where you turn within and you start to learn to meditate. And yeah, you'll run into the unconscious energy, as I mentioned. You'll run into these lies, and you get closer and closer to your truth until you get really comfortable with your meditation. And especially if you're waking up to your energy system and kind of some of your higher levels of intuition, it can be like Google. It can be like, I'm really curious about this. And you can start to get your answers to that. And that's awesome. I think that's something that a lot of people are wanting, just don't know, God, how does this even work? How do I go about doing that? Because for most people, when you think of something like that, it's, people that are more rational based, it's somewhere, there's some formula, it's got to be in some sort of book and all that. And really, you're the book. You have the answers and information within yourself. It's just, how do you become aware of that and bring that out so that you can start to notice that and look at that. And that's fun, that's exciting, and that's what I'm interested in, and what I love talking about and sharing and teaching, and really what this YouTube channel is all about.